in the nighttime. Watch what she do when the light shine. Drunk niggas try.
Hey y'all, so I am still wearing the same outfit in my last vlog, but I thought like since my makeup was already done and I'm comfortable and I just got some candy, why not let y'all know some things about me. Well, it's not really things about me, but y'all see what it says in the description box. So yeah, y'all see what it says inside the description box. So today I'll be talking about like some of my insecurity, and then before I do that, I want to first start out with like, I guess you would call it projection, I don't know, but like things that people have said about me that I don't know if they expected me to be insecure or like something they wanted me to change. So yeah, let me get right into that. So one of the things that I was constantly like told growing up, I would often be like, it would be pointed out like on me having fuller lips, and my lips are not as full as a lot of other people, but they're full. And I've had people say like, oh my gosh, they're so big, like why don't you get like a lip reduction type thing. And it's just like, that's not something that I'm insecure about, and it just had more to do with like those people's insecurities, and they felt like they needed to project their own issues on me. So that was just like one of the things. Another thing that I feel like a lot of people thought that I was insecure about this, but I really wasn't. I'm really sorry that I'm making all this noise in my mouth. I just had like one of these malted milk balls, and it was just a lot because like the candy store is way different from like a Whopper malted ball. So yeah, like I was saying, so one of the ones that a lot of people would always bring up about me was being a darker skin tone. Excuse me. A lot of people assume that I was insecure about that. Definitely not. I think it was just because like growing up, I never like was into like dressing up. I like to more dress for comfort. One of the things that a lot of people would think, I think it more had to do with the fact that like I didn't really dress up when I was younger, and like we really couldn't afford to be doing like all those shopping and stuff. So people thought that since like I wasn't dressing up, that meant like, oh, I was insecure about my skin tone, which was not the case at all. I just like to dress comfortably, and it may look ugly to people or not as cute, but it definitely didn't have nothing to do with my skin color. Something I am trying to move away from is describing myself as chocolate, because you know, I do not want to be described as food, because then that can develop into being a fetish. But I always say that. I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm so chocolate, because I love the skin tone that I am. I think that was like one of those are the two. I think another one, I'll insert pictures of what, these are not my regular glasses, these are my old glasses. I lost my usual glasses, so I'll insert some pictures of that around here, and y'all will see like the glasses that I used to wear. And that was something I've had a few people point out. They're like, they're just so big, like why do you like them? And it's just like, I like stuff that is different. I don't want to look like everybody else, so that's just me. So I'm editing the video that y'all are watching right now, and I forgot to mention a couple things. So another thing about my glasses that I was wearing, like my original glasses, they're circle, and like they were better for my eyes. I had bigger eyes, and like you'll see in some of my videos when I'm wearing these glasses, I'm kind of like looking crazy or looking above the glasses itself, because like it's not fitting like my whole eyes, and also because a lot of times I'm wearing lashes. But yeah, I completely forgot to mention that. That was like another reason why I really like the what is it called? The circle glasses, because it was able to capture like my eyes better than but yeah, I don't know what that's about. Like a lot of people always find need to comment on things that has nothing to do with them, but yeah, so those are just some things that I felt like people expected me to be insecure about, but I wasn't. So let's get into my insecurity. And I guess this is kind of clickbait because I don't know if it was necessarily an insecurity. Well, yeah, it kind of was at the beginning, but as time went on, it was just like it molded into something else. So, my insecurity used to be being African, specifically being Nigerian. But growing up in America is like they just group us all into one, so it's not like not a lot of people. Well, now a lot of people know like the different African countries, but back. Okay, sorry about that. The camera cut off. Like I was saying, so a lot of people back then they didn't really know like the different African countries, so we would all be grouped into one, which I didn't have a problem with, but you know, individuality is big too. But you know, that's where like the jokes African booty scratcher, did y'all live with lions, tigers, and bears? Did you live in a hut? You know, those type of stereotypes that people see in movies, and it's like these movies were made by white people, not African people, so I guess that's where the stereotypes are kind of pushed on to them to believe that that was the lifestyle people were living. But even at that point, like I had never even been to Africa, so I still knew like what they were saying was incorrect. Yeah, but with me, I remember like middle school, well, kindergarten to fifth grade, a lot of people didn't even know that I was African. Like they always wanted to know how to say my last name, but I would never think. It was just like I think like since a child, I've just always been like more to myself when it comes to like my personal business. So I just didn't want them to know my business. I didn't want them to know how to say my last name. And yeah, so that was like with that. But once it came to like middle school and above, a lot more people were starting to, I guess, discover that I was African, that I am African. And often, like, when people would find out, they would be like, I thought you were black. Or, what? You're African? Like, I deceived them or something. It's like, you never ask. And I kind of thought it was obvious because, like, my last name kind of gave it away that it wasn't, like, a common American last name. So, yeah, I didn't really know what was going on with that. But going back to middle school, I definitely used to tell people like all types of lies just so that way I would avoid like bullying. So I would tell people I was only half African. I would tell people, or I wouldn't even like acknowledge the fact that I was African. And you would think that like that's the same as like elementary, but it was different because in middle school, like if people would mention something about Africa, I would just immediately like deny, like no, 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 you know. But like in elementary, like nobody knew that I was African, and I didn't really think that was like, hi, my name is Tolu, I'm African. Like, you know, it's not really a thing that I need to mention. So the thing too about like the whole African thing, when I was in middle school, some of the girls had also mentioned it. I don't even know what we were doing. Oh, I think it was like because we were doing like a Black History celebration and we did that at my school. So they were mentioning like, well, before that, the person in charge, the staff member in charge, she was asking like, do we like know about our history? And I was just telling them like a little bit what I knew. Because like I said, I didn't really know much about being African. I didn't know much about my Nigerian heritage. So at this point I was just knowing like a little bit. And one of the girls had brought up like they had noticed that they were like, why do I feel ashamed about being African? It's like these are the same people that were talking, you know, negatively about being African, asking me stupid, ignorant questions. So it wasn't like I wasn't necessarily ashamed. It was more like I'm not going to discuss something with you when you have mindless comments and questions to make. So yeah, I just wanted to interject that in there because I completely forgot to mention that when I was doing the video. And while I was editing, I just noticed like these couple things are just popping up in my mind. So yes, y'all carry on. Carry on. People just always be surprised or act like I deceived them, which I don't really view it as deceiving because it's just like I'm not. You didn't ask me if I was, and it's not. I don't think it's like a normal thing to be walking up to people, introduce yourself, and tell them your nationality. But yeah, so that just always like went on. It got better as time went on because a lot more of my friends were like coming over to my house. They were around my family more, and they like started to eat the food, like Nigerian food. They would hear like my mom and like family members talk to me in my native language. So it was like normal for them more. Like they were a lot more understanding. And I think it also has to do with maturity as well. So once it came to college, I think I definitely just grew out of that like insecurity of like being African. I was just more proud too of just being African. And also I think going to Nigeria my second time really made me more proud to be like Nigerian because I got to see a lot more of the culture. I was able to meet a lot more family members. My prom dress was made out of the fabric which we call Ankara. Different West African countries call it different things, and I can even like insert a picture of like what my prom dress looked like. Yeah, I was just like much more proud of being African. I think the thing that just really got me to get out of that insecurity had to do with the fact I was educating myself more. Like I didn't really know much about the music, or I didn't really know much about like just a lot of cultural stuff. I wasn't aware of, but it was really big. I think music really helped me like really get into the Nigerian culture more because I didn't really listen to like Nigerian music. I was really big into R&B and like Disney stuff. So yeah, I think that definitely helped me as well. College, it was a lot different for me. When I came to college, I knew someone from like, and they referred to me by my African name. And that's another thing too. Like growing up, I always went by what a lot of Africans will do. Parents will do is give their child an American name. Yes, it's a legal name. It's not like we're just pulling it out of anywhere. But yeah, they give their child like an African name and an American name. And I just went by my American name because kindergarten, this is like quick little story time. In kindergarten, I had a teacher that couldn't say my name. So my mom was like, oh, just refer to her by this. And that's what the J stands for. So yeah, that's what happened. Like K through 12, I just went by my American name. And when I came to college, I was just like, I want to change this, you know, like I want to make this a fresh new start, and I want to be able to go by the name that was given to me and not let it be a waste, because like no one refers to me by my African name. So I just wanted that to be out there, and yeah. But now in college, I started going by my African name, Tolu, and also it's more obvious to a lot of people that I am African just because of the fact that like Tolu is not a common American name. So yeah, I don't know, it's a lot different for me because I kind of liked, I don't know what this is called, but I personally liked when people didn't know, like how it was in elementary, like they didn't know that I was African. Not in an ashamed way, but I kind of felt like a unicorn. It was like, excuse me, it was like my superpower, like an extra, I don't know, would it be a Pandora box? No idea. But like, you know, just like a secret. I'm just noticing like how messy it looks behind me. It looks worse on camera than it actually is in person, because it literally, all it is my pajamas. But anyway, yeah, I really like that because it was like I didn't automatically, I guess it had more to do with the fact that like there wasn't an automatic label on me that I was African. But it wasn't in a way of like being ashamed like it was middle school and early high school. But it's just like when people do find out, it's like, oh, surprise type thing. So Yeah, I think that's the only thing now that it's like more obvious that I am African. I kind of like that secrecy because I'm just like, that's just how I am. And I did mention that in our upcoming segment, and it's talking about boundaries. And I talked about like how I've always just been more to myself. I've always been like more of a secret type of person. So I think that also plays a part in why it was, I guess, kind of a big deal for me for people to know what that I'm Nigerian. I had always been told like by people that, oh, they never assumed that I was like other Africans. They never assumed that I was African because I talk black, and I'm like, girl, you're black too. What are you talking about? So I knew what they're saying, but it's ignorant to say. So yeah, but that was like something I was really insecure about. But the advice I would give to my younger self definitely would be everything will fall into place and everything that you are worried about will work in your favor. And I definitely think that's what it is now. There's an acceptance of how black women looked, but there's also the pros and cons. We're definitely seeing a lot more representation with modeling industry, makeup, hair, just a lot of things. We're starting to see that representation of women that look like me. And then also, I guess the con would just be like fetishization of black women too. So yeah, it's just like you kind of weigh it out, but it's definitely really nice to see that representation. I know it was big. I guess like for me, especially growing up, that made me really not make me insecure about the things that other people pointed out about me, like my lips, my skin tone, the type of glasses I wore. It had a lot to do with the black cartoons for me because watching TV was something that I like to do, but like I didn't watch TV a lot, but when I did, it was really nice to see, like, I think it's number 5 off Codename Kids Next Door. Susie Carmichael, that's my OG. Like everyone knows I have like quite a few Rugrats shirts that have her on it, and I specifically got them because she's on there. What was another one that I love? I said number 5, says Susie. Definitely like Penny Proud and like the Proud family, that was big for me. When Princess Tiana came out, I was in 6th or 7th grade, The Princess and Frog, and that was big for me because my favorite princess was always, before Princess Tiana, it was always Princess Jasmine, and I just love the fact that she had like a blue like 2-piece, and she had a pet tiger, and I was like, I want a pet tiger. And I think it also made me more attracted to like her being my favorite one was because she was brown, and I didn't see any other brown princesses. So when Princess Tiana came, that was really big for me, and that's like those are my top 2 favorite Disney princesses. So yeah, that was also big. And I think the really groundbreaking one for me that was really big was Black Panther. Like, I watched it a total of 5 times, 4 or 5 times. I'm probably gonna watch it today after I'm done filming this, but I watched this like so many times, and I just love the movie. Like, even though it's fictional and a lot of people will say, oh, they're from Wakanda, and it's just so nice to see that. And like they even put like real events into that with the whole Boko Haram in the beginning in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria. And I was like, what? They're putting awareness. Like, I just loved it. And especially now with the whole Blackest King is out too. That's another one that's really paving the way to put the light on the African culture. And I actually want to do a video on that and like kind of like how people are talking about Beyonce culturally appropriating African culture. I want to do a video on that, so look out for that as well. So y'all stay safe and keep hair flipping on the haters. Y'all, I made this wig It's a wig. I made it. I would take it off for y'all, but she said, I don't know. But yeah, I made this, and it's crazy because this is my first wig, and this is also the first wig I've ever made. So it's like first. And I'm glad that the wig that I made, it was able to be my first one. I promise y'all, it's not like stiff or anything. I put the freeze spray, the Got To Be freeze spray, so that way the curls would be held. And you're probably like, the curls aren't held right here, but this is actually how it was. I did Bantu knots and flexi rods, and this just happened to be one of the areas that had the Bantu knots that was a little bit looser. Oh wait, no, this one had the flexi rod that just happened to be a little bit looser, so that's why it didn't like match up with this one. But yeah, but anyway, y'all stay safe and keep hair flipping on the haters. Bye. Alright, so hey y'all,